What's up guys, KingdomPuzzleKey here, and today I'm going to be making chicken and rice with beans. So first off, we're going to need 2 potatoes, a can of tomato sauce, a 15-ounce can of dark red kidney beans, very important, all-purpose seasoning adobo, which is very important, and if you probably use this yourselves, garlic powder, sazon. If you've used this, you know that it's very good. And the most important ingredient, homemade sofrito. My grandma, or my mom, which I used to call my grandma mom, makes homemade sofrito. It is very expensive and very pungent. But we'll be using this much in our recipe for the sauce. And you'll need a medium-sized saucepan to contain everything in. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so the first step in making the sauce in the beans is to drain out our kidney beans. As you can see, I've already cut the tops off before recording this part of the segment. To do this, we are going to need 2 things. A sink with running water and a strainer. Now what you're going to want to do is to carefully drain out the water and pour out the kidney beans. Make sure to get out every single last bean. Then what you're going... Hold on. Alright, now what you're going to want to do is to wash the kidney beans in the water. Make sure the water is not too cold and not too hot. Make sure to rinse off every single bean. This is an important step. You'll also want to peel your potatoes and then cut them up into medium-sized pieces, which will probably be done post-edit as well. I mean, we will be doing this post-edit. Well, here you have it. Freshly rinsed kidney beans. Alright, as you can see, we have peeled and cut our potatoes into medium-sized chunks. Now let's get to the assembly stage of making the sauce. First, you're going to want to pour your tomato sauce in with the beans. As you can see, I've already poured in our already washed beans in. And make sure to get every single drop of tomato sauce in there. Next, you're going to want to pour some water into the tomato can, like so. Then you're going to want to take said tomato can and then pour it into the pot, like so. You're going to want to do this 2 times. Alright, this is the second time. And just like the first time, into the pot it goes. Alright. Next, hold on one sec. We're going to use a spoon like this to stir it around, like so. Make sure you stir it efficiently. All right. Then we add in our potatoes. like so. Oops, I accidentally got a few in there. Yeah. As you can see, our potatoes are now in the sauce. Almost forgot our most important ingredient, the sofrito. You want to add just as much of a spoonful to your sauce. Just putting the mixture like so and mix it around. Mix. All right. Our sofrito has been mixed in. Now comes for the chicken adobo the all-purpose adobo and the garlic powder. Now for when it comes to each of these, you're going to want to pour them just like tilt the entire bottle upside down and then count to 3 like so. 1, 2, 3. And then you mix around again. Sorry, there's a bit of seasoning in the air. And make sure to mix around your seasoning. All right, next we do the garlic powder, and the same steps apply for this. Tilt it upside down. 1, 2, 3. Then you mix it like so. Mix. And last but not least, the most important ingredient, the sazon. Make sure you shake this out to make sure you get all the sazon at the bottom. Then you tear it off, open up your packet, and then add in your sazon. This gives it a real special kick. And this is used in a lot of Puerto Rican dishes. And just like every other time, say it with me everyone, mixa. And there you have it. You have a fully authentic Puerto Rican bean sauce. Now we can move on to making the chicken, or preparing the chicken and the rice. Now that our sauce is prepared, we can take it over to the stove and put it on the medium heat for 30 minutes. After that is done, we can check in on it to see if it needs to cook for a little bit more while we prepare our chicken and our rice. Okay, now we're going to start by frying our chicken. My mom likes to get boneless, skinless chicken thighs, so that's what we're going to use. And to save time, I've already had these seasoned, but we're going to add a little bit more seasoning just to be on the safe side. We're going to be using adobo and garlic to season these, just like we did with the sauce. Since these pieces were already seasoned, I'm going to only add a light little bit of seasoning. First with the adobo, like so. And then the garlic powder. That's a bit more than I would like. All right, and then you want to rub it in. Like so. Now, one thing I do like to get is to flip the pieces on their side after rubbing it in on the one side, and season those sides to get the seasoning really in there. And another thing I also like to do is to cut into the pieces. That really helps to get in all the flavor. I mean, I didn't do that with these pieces, but that is the little tip that you can use to get more flavor out of your chicken. So, just like With the first side, we're going to lightly season with adobo. And then with garlic powder. Then we're going to rub in our spices like so. I mean, I say spices, but it's really seasoning, but same thing. All right. Now, as for the frying part of this, my hands are covered in seasoning. You probably can't tell because of the light. We're going to use a large and or medium saucepan. But first, we're going to cover it with water. Like this. You don't need much water, just enough to fully coat the bottom of the saucepan. Now we're going to take our chicken pieces and put them into the pan. Like so. There. Now with our chicken pieces in the pan, we're going to take our chicken to the stove and put it on medium heat for 30 minutes. And with that, we can get started on the last part of our recipe, the rice. Okay, so now that our chicken is boiling, we are going to cover it with a lid like so, and then put it on medium heat. As for the sauce, as you can see, it is also boiling. So as it is boiling, we are going to stir moderately and have it on medium heat, just like with the chicken. We're going to check on these periodically as we prepare our rice. Okay, you can't tell from this angle, but our sauce is boiling. So we have already lowered down the heat according to our stove's temperature settings. The same goes for the chicken, which is still on medium heat, and it has already been flipped, ready to fry. As you can see here. Perfectly fried. Well, almost. We're going to keep the chicken and the sauce covered and just check back on them periodically. Alright, but they are almost done. Almost. Very soon we could get work on the final step, the rice. Okay, so it's been a few minutes since we last checked up on the chicken, so we are going to take the lid off of the pan, and as you can see, the chicken's now cooking in its own juices. Now we're going to keep it off of the lid just like this and let it just cook in its own juices. As for the sauce, it is being cooked to perfection. Once the chicken is done, we can take both it and the sauce off of the heat and work on our rice. Okay, so the 30 minutes are now up. The chicken still needs a bit of time to cook, but the sauce, on the other hand, is cooked to perfection. Now we're going to start our final step in our recipe, making the rice. Alright, so we are now on the last step of our recipe, making the rice. To save time, I've already poured the amount of rice we will need to use in our recipe. Now we're going to take this rice and wash it in cold water under the sink. Be sure to do this as many times as needed until the water comes out clean. Now you can just do this with a rice pot, but using my special tool I've got here, I'm going to carefully strain out the water. You probably can't see it from the angle I have here, but we're going to keep doing this until the water comes out clean. And just be careful not to let any of the rice spill. Alright? That is very important. So you want to cover your rice pot like this to make sure none of the rice grains spill out, because sometimes the rice will float to the top and spill out when you're pouring out the water. Alright? We're just going to keep on straining our rice. This is a pretty tedious task, but it is very worth it in the end. You see, the reason we are doing this is because the rice, when it first is packaged, is very starchy, and by doing this, we are washing out the starch. Alright, just one more wash should be good enough, and here we are. But the water is clear. You can't see it from this angle, but the water is clear. Here. Alright, now we are going to transfer our rice to a rice pot, like so. Sorry, there's a... Alright, never mind. Now we're going to transfer our rice to a rice pot, like so. The rice at this part is going to be a little sticky, so you might need to scoop out the rest of the rice grains. And you may need to use a spoon or something like that to get the rest of the rice grains out, like I'm doing. Alright. Okay, so to save us a bit of time, I have already added in the appropriate amount of water into our rice pot. Now, you're going to want to put in as much water so that it covers the first knuckle of your finger. Then we're going to add salt, and olive oil. This is olive oil in this thing, in case you don't know. Now we're going to add a generous helping of salt here, like so. And 1 spoonful of olive oil. Now with the salt, you can usually just add it to your liking. Like I personally like to add a good amount of salt to my rice. But you can add as much salt or as much less salt as you prefer. Alright. Alright, you can't see it, but let me just... Alright, there. As you can see, we have now properly mixed in our olive oil and salt into our rice. Now we are going to put it on high heat, like so, and then we are going to keep stirring periodically and wait until it boils. Once that is done, we are going to cover the rice pot and wait 30 minutes to come and plate our food and see the end results. Alright, so the 30 minutes are up, and now we're going to take our lid off the rice pot, and we're going to fluff our rice with this fork. Make sure to get as much rice as you possibly can. And there you go, there you have it. You have white rice. Now, I'll be back soon with a finished product of what chicken, rice, and beans will look like. Alright, now that all the food is done, I've prepared myself a plate, and this is what your end result should be. Now, I'm going to enjoy myself some chicken and rice with beans, and I hope you do as well. Thank you for going through this pretty crazy step-by-step tutorial on how to make chicken, rice, and beans with me. And as always, this is the Kingdom Puzzle Key, signing off!